Hello and welcome to our live play of Curse of Strahd as presented by For the Love of Crits. I'm level 1 Dungeon Master Hunter Ayu, and thank you again for joining us as we continue with our Lost Clerics of Barovia. We are returning to our members after they were recovering from the traumatic event of disposing of Victor. We're going to jump right back in where we had left off. We do like to let people know that the content of Curse of Strahd, which is created by Wizards of the Coast, is notorious for being a campaign with very dark genres. This program does use adult humor, adult language, and viewer discretion is advised. Thank you all again for joining. Again, we ask you to keep the chat civil and keep the chat from avoiding spoilers for any Wizards of the Coast adventures. We're now going to go through a brief recap, and please, for the love of crits, like and subscribe. When we last joined our Lost Clerics of Barovia, they were in the attic of the Burgomaster's mansion, the ozone still thick in the air, as they now had to come to terms with what had just occurred. They were now, for sure, in the realm of being judge, jury, and executioners of this young boy that they had met, read through his journal, and realized that they did not believe that he should remain unpunished. Some of the clerics believed that this was something that they would regret, that this was something that they shouldn't have done for the sake of pleasing their own gods. Others believed that the justice itself was necessary to please their gods. But unable to spend too much time debating the ethics of what they had done, they returned downstairs and began further searching the Burgomaster's mansion. They arrived and found the Burgomaster himself in his own study. He talked to the clerics, discussing what they had found and what they hadn't found, again reiterating that he would like that they stay out of any locked rooms. After short conversations, amounting to that they hadn't really found very much, the Burgomaster gave them a little bit of silver to silver one or two weapons for their trouble, and guided them out of the house and sent them on their way, once again asserting that all would be well, and asking that they please kindly attend the Festival of the Blazing Sun the next day. Leaving the Burgomaster's mansion, finding that it was in the late afternoon at this point, the clerics were trying to determine what their next course of action would be, when Pidalic II was the one that spoke up, revealing that his teleportation to the Burgomaster's mansion was not unwarranted, for there had been a mysterious person searching through their things at the St. Andrew's Cathedral. Arriving at St. Andrew's Cathedral, the clerics were able to see that their stuff had indeed been rooted through. Father Petrovich let the clerics know that he had no idea who had gone through this. No one suspicious had been within the cathedral to his knowledge. Upon investigating, they found traces of dirt among their things. Conereth was able to smell it to find it, and Graves was able to make the connection to his own grave digging ritual back when he lived outside of Barovia. The clerics were talking about what next steps they would take. Graves was insistent that they search the graveyard surrounding the castle for possible clues of Milovage leaving anything, or perhaps some of the items that may be missing, while others wanted to question Milovage himself. Father Petrovich let them know that he had returned home sick. Home is at the orphanage, by the same name of the cathedral, St. Andrew's Orphanage, and that is where we left our clerics during our last session. With that being said, you all are within the cathedral. Let me pull up our map very quickly. I kept calling it cathedral, but technically it's Church of St. Andrew. I like St. Andrew's Cathedral better. It rolls off the tongue.
Agree. Excuse me.
There we go. And let me invite the players over. You are all within the Church of St. Andrew. Father Petrovich has again given his apologies, and he is returning to his prayers that he was performing when you had entered in. He wanted to make sure that you didn't find your things undisturbed without him at least warning you of the fact beforehand. As far as next steps, you have the option to all go together or to split up to be able to gain more ground. Luckily, you have plenty of time in the day, so if you all join together, you wouldn't have any issue being able to go to both places.
Yes. Graves would by discussing is like, well, if you all wanted to go to the orphanage, it's fine with me. I have no issue working into the night in the graveyards.
Very well. I mean, I certainly agree. You would probably feel comfortable there. And we should probably investigate this orphanage.
So, is there anything that you'd be, are you going to be searching the graveyard graves, or are you mostly interested in just what is or is not in, like, are you mostly just going to the graveyard in order to assist with digging graves?
Mainly using it as an excuse to look around.
Okay. Are you going to be
Without appearing
waiting until
suspicious.
later in the evening then to do so?
Left because if we want to go to the orphanage, he's like, we can do. I don't need to meditate up late in the graveyard if I need to.
Okay. Sounds perfectly reasonable. So you are all able to make your way to the graveyard without any issue. Or make your way to the orphanage. So we're going to transfer to the main map.
Change map again.
Yep, change map again. I was thinking we'd be at the graveyard for a little bit longer, otherwise I wouldn't have switched this around. We have our party cube, the team token. Okay. And you had passed St. Andrew's orphanage earlier in the day, so you would actually have a pretty clear idea of where it is. St. Andrew's orphanage.
It's over around here somewhere, isn't it?
It is a bit further down, so it's actually going to be right over here. If you
Over
guys can
here.
see my
Okay.
light. Yep.
Yep.
So, feel free to walk down there. You do see. Let's see. Is anyone doing anything on the way over to there?
No.
Garrett would probably be generally scent checking as he goes along to see if at any point he picks up the particular scent that he picked up in their room.
Okay, so for the dirt that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Exiting the church, could you roll me a perception check at advantage?
Characters. Try to pull up my bonuses. I can do that with our new fancy thing.
Okay.
Plus 3, so 15.
Okay, so
Because
and I
I'm
believe that
good.
when you roll that, you can add +3 and it will automatically do that. With the new symbiotes.
Yeah, looks like I can do that. Cool.
Alright, so you got 15?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to be saving that for a revelation down the road, but you would smell that dirt around pretty easily right when you exit the cathedral. You're going to see that most of the smell is leading you to the nearby open graves. So you're like, yep, definitely that same smell is associated with the graves that are opened. It's a combination of like mildew and moss and bone meal and dirt. All right, so you guys continue along the way. Nothing really happens of note on your way over there. Some people kind of glance your way as you're passing, but you don't really run into anyone. However, upon turning the corner to the orphanage, you do see a man in more colorful clothing than you've seen in Barovia. You would have seen this man around before and would have heard him described um,
This is
by quite a few people. You would know this to be Rictavio.
and he is the bard with magic.
Yes, so he is the bard. He's been known to do magic tricks and things like that. What you see now is he is walking out and he is carrying a box, and out of the box lid, you can see multiple puppet arms and stuff kind of hastily shoved in there. He's carrying it. He is whistling a tune on his breath, which that alone is an oddity within Barovia, as majority of the people are very sullen and not really having too much music within their lives. He has a very ornate lute on his back, and he begins walking. As he walks out of the orphanage, he glances left and right and is about to turn to the left away from you, but does a double take, looking at you, and he's like, he looks towards you and he sets down the box and begins playing the lute. And he's like, adventurers, come. I've been meaning to be able to speak with you.
Um, I suppose so, yes. Sorry. A bit. I'm not really myself at the moment. A bit exhausted. Not
I
usually
can
talking.
understand that, my good lad. And he's like, I think that, uh, are you walking towards him? Are you staying away? Like keeping your distance?
Yeah, I think we would just be walking towards him.
All right.
Yeah.
He's like, you do look a little under the weather. Rectavio's the name, and never fear, for I am here. And I am more than happy to converse. I was excited to speak to you, for you probably would be the first person in a long time that's been to Waterdeep, or so I've heard.
Oh, well, yeah, you have some keen ears, I suppose. I am, in fact, from Waterdeep. You have been yourself? You're not a native to this land, it would
I
appear.
am not. I was a circus performer, and unfortunately ended up in this land and haven't been able to escape.
How long have you been here, may I ask?
I think it's been almost 3 months. I found Valaki. I originally was near Kresk, and made my way to here and seemed to be a decent enough town. I've never been much for combat, and I've just always heard that you can't really get out, so I make my way and bring joy to those people of Valaki.
Have you ever tried to leave?
I mean, I've tried to walk through the mist. I would not recommend it.
Hmm.
But
Yes.
If you
well,
think you're exhausted now, wait till you go through those.
Yes, we have not fully encountered. I mean, we've had brushes with the mist. Obviously, it ushered us here to this place, but yeah, we haven't.
That's
We
so
haven't
in the mist proper, though.
Yes, it didn't allow us in. Luckily for
Well,
us, I suppose.
well, I am going to be the ringmaster at the festival tomorrow. I usually do a small one ring circus. That I usually try to train a few people to be able to assist. Unfortunately, there aren't many acrobats within. Do any of you have any capability of magic or, shall I say, uh, pizzazz that may be able to be brought to the carnival? I always try to ask if I see adventurers coming through because they usually have
I
things that
mean,
these people have never seen.
well, I believe the four of us are all capable of casting magic of some sort.
Well, if you would like, I was mostly performing puppets for the children inside right now, but I usually stay at the Blue Water Inn, earn my keep there, bringing some joy to those that are drinking the wine.
Yes, well,
But
I mean,
I must be going. It was quite lovely to be able to meet you. And don't worry, your name was Herbert, correct?
yes, Lightforge.
Chin up, and he taps your shoulder and casts Bardic Inspiration on you.
Oh,
And you have a 1d6 to be able to utilize.
Nice.
So,
thank you.
yeah. And he walks away around the corner. He picks up his box and begins whistling a tune, and you would recognize it from Waterdeep. It would be a very popular tune that some of the sailors would sing.
I know that one.
I lean
Well.
over to Kunerith and I'm like, why do the rings need a mask?
Not entirely sure. I've never been to one of these myself.
Weird.
I've heard of a Lord of Rings, but not a Master.
Was a Lord of the Ring, a Lord of Rings, just like a lord with all like lots and lots of rings?
I'm not entirely sure. I've just heard of it.
Wonder if maybe he's just got one ring, really special.
So, being left in the wake of this colorful individual that talked pretty fast and seemed to fit a lot in there, and having this request for you to be able to join him to assist for a performance of all things, you stand at the doorstep of St. Andrew's Orphanage. Walking up to the door is not locked. In fact, it's a double-sided door, very similar to what you saw at the church. There's no door knocker or anything, and it doesn't appear that there's any real security system, that there's not guards, it doesn't appear to be locked, and you are able to walk directly in without any resistance. And we are switching maps again. We're moving all the way around.
Zip zap zoop.
Zippity zoopity zap. There we go.
Did anyone else their my player instinct was instantly like Piddlewick, right? Like get him in the show. But that's kind of a terrifying thing to
Ooh,
add to that show.
it's a very depressing orphanage.
You would
but
say
I mean,
it's a terrifying thing. However,
And it's a doll.
you've also seen all of the other like toys and stuff that are created here. So terrifying is a relative term that you aren't sure would exactly apply here.
I like how clowns at a certain time didn't used to be scary, and now they're widely regarded as being horrifying people.
Well, I mean, you see some of the things, like you see toys from like the 1950s, and you're like, how did they ever think this was okay to give to a child?
And in 50 years,
Onyx,
a lot
you
of the
are
things we got would not probably be kosher.
there. We go. Okay. So let me pull up the map.
It's a very depressing looking orphanage, but I mean, it is Barovia.
It
so-
is 100% a depressing looking orphanage. You would not view this as top 10 places to be able to bring your child for daycare. However, you are able to see that it has 4 walls and a ceiling. So it puts
Better than
it
nothing.
above certain buildings already from within the village of Barovia, let alone across the entire valley. So you guys are able to open the door and you may enter in. If you want a good height, you can lock it at 23.7 feet. I don't know if you guys knew that, but you are able to now lock the height at a certain point.
23 is a little tall for me. Has to be
Little
like
tall.
13.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
sorry. There we go.
Just about where I have it too.
Yeah, so 15.5 feet is where I have it. Sorry, I was on the second floor.
That makes sense.
Okay. So you walk in, and the front hallway is wood paneled and dimly lit. The wooden floors are old and worn, and steps of the main staircase sag with age. A pile of childish shoes lays by the western wall. Sitting here, you guys don't see any immediate children. This is definitely just the entrance to it. You hear some noises coming from this door over here, and sounds like slight noise of pattering of feet. However, don't hear any sounds or anything like that, like children yelling.
Graves will knock on this door.
You knock, and there is no response. It is not locked, and it actually swings open as you knock. Opening here, you see that this is the orphanage's main living area. It features an old couch, a few mismatched stuffed chairs, chests crammed with worn toys, and 2 small dining tables surrounded by chairs. 3 young girls crowd around a dollhouse in the south of the room. An older boy paces the room with a toddler on each hip as he tries to soothe them. Another boy and girl are playing a game of tag and chase each other around the furniture. And an older girl sits on the couch and reads aloud to 4 more gathered toddlers. The room is a den of chaos and noise.
Excuse me.
One of the girls playing tag is running by and kind of looks at you, and she looks up at you, and her mouth is slightly open, and she just is staring at you.
Do you know where I can find Milovich?
She points, and let me make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. Okay, so she points over towards this direction, and she doesn't say anything. She just silently points, mouth still agape, and kind of watching you.
Okay. Thank you. My friends here and I are from the church where he works, and we came to make sure he's all right. And then start kind of like making his way through, not like super slow or anything, but like enough that he's kind of like making sure he's not in the kids' way.
When we
Okay.
walk into the room, I'm going to use prestidigitation to give like a little bit of a shine and glare to Onyx, maybe unless he's got his hood up, just to make him look like a shiny robot. These
Okay.
guys.
The
I think it would be a treat.
girl is watching you all go by. Her mouth, her jaw never stops hitting the floor as you're walking by, and she's just like every person, like she just like is snapping her head back to the next person and unashamedly staring at all of you.
As I approach this door, I look back over to be like, this one here?
She shakes her head no.
This one.
No.
That
You
one
take
looks
a look
special
really
in
quick.
there. In the middle.
Hold on one moment.
Although there could be an outside door.
You
Are
would
there supposed to
see
be people that we're seeing.
you would see on the first door when you get to it, before you even ask, it would say Head Mistress Claudia Belasco on this door here.
That's
The other
not that one.
door would very clearly have just a simple plate that just says Milavash.
Ah,
Oh, that's how you
Here.
spell that.
yes. Apparently. Knock
Yeah,
on
it's
the door.
Milivoj.
Miniwash. We'll knock
So-
on the door.
You knock on the door and you hear faintly the voice going through like, come in. And coughing ensues. Just realized I have crisp on, so it might not carry over coughing and stuff like that.
I heard it.
Okay.
The door opens, Graves was like, Miniwash, hello, it's Graves, and the others here, Herbert and Onyx and Konarf. We met briefly at the church before. May we come in?
He starts going into a very strong coughing fit, but he does kind of slightly nod as you come in. He is laying in bed. Let me pull up the description really quick of this room. This bedroom is sparsely furnished. The floors are covered with dirt, and an old shovel lies on the ground at the foot of the bed. A sickly young man sits in the bed fitfully. He is covered in sweat, and appears to have a fever. His cough is deep in the chest and appears very congested. Can you roll a perception check? Can everyone roll a perception check as you're walking in?
Let's see what my phone says.
See.
And if
3.
anyone gets over a 13, let me know. I know they'll
I
underneath
have
you.
a 17.
I got a 14.
I have to roll at disadvantage, so
No. Unfortunate.
I'll still 17.
Still a 17.
Okay. Okay. So you walk in, and you would see that yes, there is a shovel at the foot of the bed. But it appears like Milivoj just walked in, and he didn't even remove his clothing. He just dropped everything he was carrying and crawled into bed.
He is not feeling good.
So he didn't really waste any time with making his way in here. Konarth, in addition, you do recognize the smell within this room, and you're like certain that they are the same.
He probably was just going for healing potions to see if they would heal him of this sickness. That's my guess.
That's all that we were missing, right? Was 2 healing
Yeah.
potions.
I mean, he apparently is not too good. But wait, I guess Grace is like, oh, my friend, you're not looking too well. Is normal thing for you, or just a new sickness?
Oh, it's new. My throat was sore this morning, and then I just felt exhausted, and I had to come back here.
He does.
Did Father Petrovich send you?
No
Yes,
way.
he did. Well,
Sort of.
he left you feeling ill. And we decided to check up on you.
We were left with a healing potion, right? Someone still
We
has
have
one.
There's
right?
2 among your entire party.
Did we establish who has those?
I don't believe
I don't
so.
think
It
we
was
did.
in your group belongings,
Okay.
but
I was holding 2
I don't.
beforehand, and I believe Canarith
Yeah.
was also holding 2.
Oh, I also
I
have
think
2 in my inventory.
Oh, you had 2? Or no, maybe it was you that had the 2. So I think 2 of us had 2 at least.
There's just something I want to do, and I
there
want
was
to know.
4 total. You guys were
Yeah.
left with 2.
Okay, yeah. So then, yeah. So Graves and Herbert were carrying the healing potions before. I think that's how we probably would have divvied them up. But
Passively inciting it, Milovaj is young. He's like 17 years old. He looks, despite the paleness from the sickness, he looks like he's nervous having you 4 in the room, and it would be apparent.
Konareth is going to speak just to Herbert, who's in front of him. Could you hand me pretend in a way, hopefully, that Melavash wouldn't notice the healing potion that you have?
oh, that he wouldn't notice. Sure, yeah. I'll try to slip it to him. I'll pull it out behind my shield. No, I don't have my shield out.
I mean, you have to carry it somehow.
He's
it would
lying
probably
on his back,
go
kind of
back.
staring at the ceiling. Unless he's like coughing and being forced into like a crunch position. So you trying to hide it from him would be exceptionally easy.
All right, yeah. I'll just do my best to I'll just slip it out of the pack and just kind of hand
I'm
it to
not
him
going to
there.
force you to roll on that. He's not feeling well enough that he wouldn't really be caring what you guys are doing.
All right. And while he's talking to the others, Konareth is just going to slip just outside the door and just give the healing potion a sniff.
Okay.
And the intention is to eventually go back in and see if he smells it on Melavash. We can keep the RP going. I just want to let you
Okay,
know the
yeah, for
series
sure.
of events.
Roll me a perception check at advantage for when you get back in there.
Okay.
So Graves, you were talking with Milovaj.
Yeah.
He is kind of looking between all of you. He's like, "What do you mean he kind of sent you?"
We just
First, Garen doesn't remember.
For Father Petrovich.
yeah. Well, we just
Yeah, I don't remember.
we heard that you were ill, and we decided to perhaps check up on you. It's
Oh.
not good for a community to go without their gravedigger for too long.
Yeah. I'm hoping to be back to work tomorrow. I need to get back to work.
Can Graves kind of start asking Milovich like about his symptoms and kind of like get him to open his mouth so he can look into whatever his lantern and such to basically do a medicine check to see if I can figure out what he's sick with?
Yeah, go ahead, roll me a medicine check. For that.
My cat
He's
just
like,
screamed in pain, but he's just sitting on the couch.
I'm not good at that, so I cannot help you.
I think
he
he's
is
just vomiting.
pretty tired, so he's not really caring.
Okay, what is
Kunarith,
my bonus? Medicine +5. Sorry, I was distracted by my cat like screaming and vomiting behind me.
no worries. Kunarith, when you walk in,
It's a
you don't
20.
smell anything similar to the health potion in this room, whether it be from Milovaj or otherwise.
Okay.
I got a 20.
Okay, so with a 20, you're starting to look at him, and his throat definitely looks sore. He has bags under his eyes as if he hasn't been sleeping well. Listening to his chest, it is heavy, heavy congestion. You probably, would have had these symptoms kind of described to you, but would have never actually seen a patient for it. So based on your knowledge, you'd think it'd be some type of bronchitis or pneumonia, some type of lung issue. And it would actually be fairly well known um among grave diggers who are working with areas that have mold and moss and things like that.
Like, yes, something. I'd imagine from this instance, you probably have and line of work, something like the lines of bronchitis, pneumonia. It's some sort of like lung infection or something of the like. I'll say among grave diggers like us, nothing unusual. But graves have an idea of something like he can easily tell him like, hey, here's a good way to help you or treat it or something. Scaring doesn't have much medical knowledge. I have my CPR training and that's it.
A little lesser restoration action. That's
It probably work, but I don't got it. More so I'm like, is there any like medicine I can tell him to get? Or like, hey, eat honey.
You would know that actually the typical remedy for it was they would actually mix herbs and stuff with alcohol of some kind. Usually you'd recommend ale. However, there's no ale within Barovia that you know of. And so
there's only wine, right?
There is only wine. So that would be what it is. You might recommend a few different herbs that he could mix with some type of wine and drink that on a regular basis until he starts feeling better. You would know that you might be able to do something with like lesser restoration or stuff like that, but usually you don't see the full effects of it until there's been multiple treatments.
Yeah. I also don't get access lesser restoration. But yeah, I'll be like, here's some. Yes, there's few herbs, and I'll be like, oh, these kind of herbs you can probably get around here. Mix them into some wine. Take that occasionally and such.
And the reason it doesn't fix it completely is because he's breathed something in and it needs to take time to get rid of that. It's not just like a wound. So drinking the wine and then doing maybe one or two lesser restorations, either you or Father Petrovich, would be the most effect.
Yeah. So basically tell him that and tell him, I assume bronchitis isn't a you're good tomorrow kind of deal. So
no, not unless you like if you had greater restoration, you could fix it immediately.
Yeah, but like I don't think he'll be back to work tomorrow though, my friend. You're gonna need a little bit longer than that.
But I must work.
I already told Father Petrovich that today I would take care of it. I am a grave digger myself. I can help out if you need.
I thank you for being able to help with my duties, but it's not just the duties.
The pay?
He kind of looks around at you. He's like, yes, the pay.
About how much do you make per day or week or however often you're paid?
I make 3 copper a day.
Oh, my friend, don't worry about that. And I will pass him 6 gold. Because I just razz it out easily. I'm like, don't worry. You're here. You're doing good job. You're helping look after these children, keeping the town running smoothly. You want, take as much gem as you need to get recovered. I'll do what I can to help with the cathedral. You'll be fine.
He looks down at the gold that you've just given him. And he is at a complete loss for words.
I've got like a fair bit of gold.
Begins weeping. From you giving him this amount of money.
Boy, this could be quite the shock to his system. Now listen, you need to invest this wisely. Don't go out buying any GameStop or Bed Bath & Beyond or whatnot.
Spend it all on Red Bull.
He looks over at Herbert. Can you roll me insight check at advantage, Herbert.
Okay.
So at normal.
Be a flat roll for me. I don't know where that went. Oh, all right.
You
Oh,
look
ooh,
at him, and when
ooh.
you're saying like invest it wisely, you can tell that he has a very specific purpose already in his mind that he's looking at using to spend this money on. You aren't sure what it is, but you know for certain he already knows exactly what he's doing with the money.
He's gonna hire an assassin to kill us.
Remember that that can go a long ways. So make sure to spread it out so you don't gorge yourself all at once, and make sure you can eat next year too.
I'm and he kind of hiccups himself back to I mean he's like, thank you. I'm a simple man, I don't need much. And he kind of gestures at the room, and what he has in his room would 100% support his statement. He has the bare minimum within this room. It looks like he just has kind of the clothes on his back and a bed to sleep on, and not much else as far as material goods. He's like, I don't need much for myself, but I thank you, as I think that this will be of great use.
Do you
You're
have... Go for it.
I just said you're welcome. That was it.
Okay. Do you happen to have somebody else that you work with digging graves, or are you the only one?
I am the only gravedigger. And he
don't
goes into
smell-
another fit of coughing.
I don't smell any health potions on him. Drunk or otherwise. I imagine if he had taken them recently enough, I would be able to sense that.
Do you allow us to talk back?
I can only activate that with one person. So I wouldn't know unless someone was trying to like signal me that they wanted to speak back
Well,
to me. I wouldn't be
I
doing
would
it.
I would look at you and nod as you're talking to me, and like try to tell you something.
Like make
Alright,
eye
like-
contact for a
like-
long time.
like
Point,
like as you
tap
say
his
that,
head.
I'm like yeah,
They have a bromance moment.
and I'll
Yeah.
I'll say perhaps one of a younger like sibling proxy done the theft and in the misguided attempt to help them. That's my current working theory.
Very possible. The smell of dirt is peculiar, though. It seems to be associated with someone that would have spent time in the grave yard. So I thought
Or
he was a
underground
natural.
for some reason.
Yeah. While they're discussing that, Graves also, after Onyx spoke, and they were all like, anyone else help you in the graveyard? He'd been like, Graves would have wanted to ask that because he thought of, is there anyone else that necessarily works in the graveyard with you, but anyone besides yourself and Father Petrovitz that would like come visit Graves very often or anything like that, or just
No.
occasionally people? Right.
Very few of the residents like to be in the graveyard. It's just me. It's quiet work. It leaves me alone in solitude. I quite enjoy it.
I know what you mean.
There's no one that you can think of other than my friend here that would pick up the slack if you were to fall ill previously.
No. The only person. I mean, I'm quite young. This is the first time I've ever been sick since I've been doing this, and I've been doing this since I was about 13.
Were you taught by someone?
I mean, Father Petrovich told me to dig holes. I didn't need much. I wasn't apprenticing under anyone.
Yes, it's the digging.
I try to
holes
keep
part
a
is-
few graves ahead a day. I'm sure that in the event something happened to me, they'd find a new gravedigger. It's not a difficult job, and it pays better than some.
Does the father ever make you dig a grave or dig up somebody?
No, I've never had to do that. What? You ask strange questions.
He's a strange fellow.
We all
I
are.
mean, did something happen? They're acting like there's someone else that's supposed to do my job.
Just
No, just curious.
there were reports that maybe somebody was getting into the graveyard after hours.
I don't sleep at the graveyard. I sleep here. I spend most of my off hours assisting with the orphans. But I can't say one way or the other. And Father Petrovich is usually at the church. He'd be the best person to ask if anyone's accessing the graves at night.
Mhm.
I know that there was suspicion that there was some type of grave robbing. The town guard questioned me, but what's your guys' passive insight?
15.
I thought you guys had higher passive insight. That's what I was asking.
14
13.
for me.
13, 14, and 15. Sounds like that's the numbers.
15, yeah.
Okay, who Graves, you had the 15?
Yeah, and I
think
think
Kunareth-
Kunareth did too.
Okay. Graves and Kunareth, you would see that in the questioning, his uncomfortableness with you guys hasn't fully dissipated, and you would believe that he is hiding something further.
Listen, has tried to help you out, with this whole sickness deal? Has anyone tried to render you some aid, perhaps?
No. As I said, I had a sore throat this morning, and it just progressed worse.
Hmm.
Father Petrovich told me to get some rest and see if there was anything later on. He tries to save his healing abilities for strong emergencies just in case.
Understandable.
Well,
Now, is there anything else that you could think of that you might feel like you want to tell us? We really do sincerely want to help you in all respects.
Roll
you-
me a persuasion check.
Okay. I am at disadvantage,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a +1.
But you have a bardic
I
inspiration.
have a bardic
you
inspiration.
do. Should use it.
That's not starting off great.
Is that or lower? It's
Oh
lower.
no.
I could roll the d6 because it's probably going to wear off pretty soon anyway.
I mean, it lasts for a little while, doesn't it?
That's for 10 minutes. So kind of like would probably wear off after this conversation.
So might as well use it during the conversation.
8.
Okay.
Unless I was rendered some help, in which case it would have been
Yeah. I mean,
if it's
we were all trying to
persuasion,
talk to him.
I am proficient, so
Same.
I would probably
One of my good
assist a little
skills.
bit.
Are you guys
Yeah.
okay, so you guys are kind of helping, like kind of nodding encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We're
everything?
going to be like, we know there's been something going on, obviously. So we're just trying to do the best, and it's good if we are able to at
Okay.
least eliminate funny possibilities, Mr. Giselle.
Onyx assisting would allow you to be able to use the higher of the two rolls. Graves assisting would allow you to roll an additional 1d6 because of the money that he gave. Milovash.
Nice. That brings up to
I'm
10.
not about to
plus
start
a
talking in
D6.
this guy's head if he's already nervous.
So
14.
now it's 10 plus a D6. Nice. That's better.
It's not bad.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm like, should I burn
14
some
total?
luck points?
I could burn some luck points as well. Actually, I'm gonna burn one. You know what? I have a lot right now. Which
I'll burn 4 luck points because that brings me down to an even 20, and I like even numbers.
okay. Well, you're burning 4, so that's +2 for me, right? Is that how that
Mhm.
works?
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Well, in that case, I will do the. So that brings it up to a 16. I'll do 4.
Bring it up to an 18. Whereas, like, let's just spend our resources to convince this one guy of one thing.
Yeah, but it's
you know,
my.
Hey, that's what the luck points are for. They're made so that you
Exactly.
are willing to use them in these less than dire situations.
Yeah, so, like, I still have 20 left.
Yeah, so you're
Um,
not like, oh, I have to save this for the BBEG fight.
Does that bring
So-
I
up
have 300.
Oh, that's what we were joking about last time.
I'm going to spend 300 luck points to get a crit on Strahd.
Now, remember, if you bring it up to a 20, it doesn't count as a natural 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't force a crit.
But if my roll is well over 100,
Oh, yeah, you definitely hit. But, and it
Oh.
only affects D20 rolls, so you can't add to damage.
When I add them to my own roll, it's 1 for 1, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's that roll would be a total of 20. The most
Okay.
unnatural 20.
Okay, yeah. So a very, very dirty 20.
very dirty.
So you say that, and Milovaj kind of looks around at you and then down at the gold in front of him, and he kind of lets out like a heavy sigh and his shoulders sag. And he's like, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I looked through your things.
You didn't start feeling poorly after you did you?
No, it was before that.
It was before that? Okay, good. Well,
I was
That-
looking around for some for a tool, and I opened that door and saw all of your things there. And I hadn't seen you set it down, so I searched.
happened to find a few glass vials in there by any chance?
I saw 3 or 4 of them, but I didn't take them.
Who believe that he didn't take them? I mean, Gary currently does, but
With your passive insight, you would definitely believe him.
Hmm.
You guys can tell that he wouldn't have brought this up if he wasn't trying to come clean.
Yeah.
And you've earned his respect with being willing to help him out in this dire situation.
I mean, curiosity can be a thing.
Yes.
No harm is really done.
Did anyone see you go into that room or anything?
No,
I can think of?
I tried to be very careful. I looked quickly.
Second person.
I wasn't trying to steal. I hope you can believe that.
It's alright. I believe you, my friend.
I was looking for an item that I thought might be in your possession.
What item was that?
Yes.
A small knife,
Knife.
pocket knife. I gave it to Hans 2 weeks ago, and now he's
He was the boy that we brought back, yes?
yes.
Uh,
I had to bury him. And I saw that he didn't really have any clothes. We were close before he went missing.
Had
And
we picked up all this stuff from the camp that the boys had set?
You had, and you never
Okay.
found the pocket knife. He's like, I thought perhaps you had found it, and kept the pocket knife, not realizing its significance to me or Hans. It had been left to me by my parents, though I never knew them. And Hans never knew his parents, and I gave it to him so he could whittle, and I never got to see if he did. And he is, at this point, like a broken shell of a man. Tears kind of streaming down his face as he's talking.
That's
It's like-
understandable. I, hearing the circumstance, I do not blame you. Is hope you can understand now that we are approachable individuals, and you could ask us, but without knowing us, we are very odd looking for around here. So I understand. But unfortunately, everything that we found when we brought Hans back, we gave to the father, or whatever we did with it. I assume that's what we did. As far as I know, there was no pocket knife when we found him.
He nods. He's like, unfortunately, it wasn't in any of his belongings as well. So I don't know where it ended up.
Perhaps
I didn't see it, and I didn't spend too long in looking. I apologize again. I didn't know what else to do. I have very few possessions of my own, as you can see. And that now doubly has sentimental value for me.
Well, the important thing is that he confessed, even if it was under pressure.
and at the moment we have no specific intention of going back to where we would have found Hans, but if we ever do, I will keep an eye out for that knife for you. I can't promise anything, but if I do ever go back into that area, or if I come across it, I will keep an eye out for you.
Are there any distinguishing markings on
That is a good question.
it?
Unfortunately, no. It's just made from simple wood, and it's an iron knife. It's foldable. It folds into the handle.
It already
It's
helps.
it's probably
Yeah.
about 3.5 inches long when closed.
All right.
Well, if we don't find one, I'll make your new set.
I appreciate the thought, but unfortunately, it's impossible to replace. I already have a work knife that I used after I gave Hans the blade.
Yes, that is understandable. But, well, I do hope we find it. And thank you for your honesty.
And he just kind of nods, silent, and he's like, I understand if you want your money back. I appreciate the thought, but I don't deserve it.
No, friend, you keep it. It's a gift.
Not about deserving or not. You have
Yes.
it now. That's the decision we've made.
He nods and he's like, it will go to good use. I promise it.
I believe you, man. If you ever need anything, you can come talk to me, all right? We are brothers in the same trade.
And he instantly goes and gambles.
All on black.
You don't know what he's using it for. At all.
Is Alex's video messed up for anyone but me, or is it just me? They can't see him right now.
Just to you, I
I
think.
can see it.
Okay. Alex's video is just like a bark out for me right now.
Beep.
He's back. You were like, "Pew," and it went back. That's like perfect. It's magic.
I R2D2. I fixed it.
It was the
Villavage,
glory of God.
Villavage begins having a very strong fit of coughing once more. It's like, if you don't have any more questions, I feel like I must sleep.
You should rest, yes. Drink
Yes.
lots of water.
Yes, and those herbs and some wine if you can get it that I recommended. Probably
He
send someone
nods.
else to get him for you. But rest well.
Please, tell the headmistress she might be able to provide it.
So,
And he kind of crawls underneath the covers further, not before grabbing the gold coins and putting them underneath his pillow.
I assume we leave his room. Graves
Yeah,
will
is
leave.
there anything else that anyone wants to do in this room, or ask him before he fully falls asleep?
Disappeared.
I think he went upstairs.
Yeah, I went upstairs. Not bad.
Herbert just rises through the walls.
I've
He's
ascended.
ascending! He's ascending!
Stop him! He's ascended.
He is the new lord of this land.
There we go.
He is the young. He is the land.
You walk back into the main living area. Kids are continuing to play. It's total chaos. It doesn't feel like it's slowed down at all since you had entered into here. They are sowing chaos wherever they are. And no one's really paying any attention to you.
We should let the headmistress know about his treatment.
Yes. Wouldn't hurt. I'll knock on her door, see if she's in there.
You knock on the door and you receive no response.
All right. She must not be in there at the moment. Can I get one of the kids' attention? Preferably
Yeah.
maybe one of the older ones. They can.
Yeah, so probably the easiest older one would be the girl that is sitting reading to the younger children. Some of them have fallen asleep and don't appear to be paying attention as much, but she's obviously more calm, educated, and closer to adulthood. She looks like she's likely 14 to 15.
Yeah, kind of give a little wave to her, like, excuse me.
She looks up at you and she nods, like as she is acknowledging you.
Do you know if the headmistress is around at the moment?
She's likely in her office, and she points straight ahead out the door that you had come in.
Like across
the hall.
Thank you.
She nods and then goes back to reading. The kids would kind of glance. They wouldn't really give too much of a second look. The only person that would really give them a second look would be Onyx, and they would fully openly stare at Onyx compared to the rest of you three.
Understandable.
I use prestidigitation to hand one of them like a little toy that looks like Onyx, but it disappears in 60 seconds.
Yay! Just
We're in the next room all of a sudden. We went away!
they would be...
You're a liar! You didn't get a toy.
You would hand it to a kid, and he would think it'd be pretty cool, and he'd be playing around with it. He wouldn't really be too concerned. One of the major things that would feel odd about this is that for the first time since you've entered Barovia, you're hearing genuine laughter.
That's what that feeling was. I was like, there's something
Not like
strange about
creepy
this.
laughter.
No,
or,
you heard laughter in the death house, but it was not something that you would attribute to the joy of childhood play. And it's something you wouldn't have heard for quite a while. Conerith, you yourself would probably feel a little bit nostalgic, as you were an orphan yourself and would remember when you were raised in a monastery. There likely would have been other kids that you would have spent time with, and you probably would recall some of those moments.
Graves was never a child.
I guess that's
true. He has always been an unknown age.
Onyx also was
months.
never a child. That'd be a mutual...
Yeah. I mean, Graves might have been a kid at some point. Probably was, but he doesn't remember it.
Yeah, that would be a mutual like experience that you and Onyx would share, that you'd both remember when you came into existence,
Graves, it's not that long ago.
which is kind of weird to think about that you would remember coming into existence. But you and Onyx would both share that.
Yep. Onyx is probably longer ago than Graves. Graves is essentially 2 months old.
Like
Yeah.
2.5 at this
Ahead
point.
of
Yeah,
you,
probably 2.5 months.
so ahead of you, you see another sign, and it looks exactly the same as the one on the door to the bedroom. It just says Headmistress Claudia Belasco. And we're going to take a pause there for a quick bio break,
Goodbye.
as we're around the halfway point. So we'll take a quick bio break, and then we'll come back, and you guys will meet Headmistress Claudia Belasco.
Right on.
Sounds good.
Back.
All right. We now return to our Lost Clerics of Barovia. They are at the entrance to the Headmistress Claudia Belasco's office. Do you guys knock? Just try to open it.
Should probably be polite and knock. Kick down the
You-
door.
Do you do like a very soft knock, or are you like want it to be heard knock?
I'm kind of like on the softer end, but not like
Not like a child.
questioning. Yeah, not like a child, but like not like yeah, just like
You
like
hear-
standard knock.
Quick walking from the other side of the door, and it whips open. And there is a woman there, and she's like, "What?" And then she kind of like straightens up, and she's like, "Oh, how can I help you, gentlemen?"
Hello, headmistress. My name is Graves. We are staying over at the Church of St. Andrews at the moment. When we just came, we're speaking of Milavosh, and I think I've found a little bit what his sickness is, and he recommended, maybe because he's not in a good headspace to remember things right now, telling you what I was suggesting to him to help ease his sickness.
You think you can cure Milavage?
I mean, not cure is a weird word. So he has some.
Well,
I can help
he can
ease
get
the
better.
Yes. Nothing's ever
She-
100% guaranteed, but he has a good
She
solid
doesn't
chance.
care about anything else you're saying. She just kind of smiles and laughs, and it's like, "Come in. That's better than a that's better than a nail in the foot." And she is kind of limping. She's one of those people that also she is not that short. I'm switching to her to another token because that token is short. I think it's a kid. There we go.
Connects things
She
over.
is a heavy set woman. She kind of, as she walks, her one leg stays completely still, and she almost like throws her entire hip around in order to bring it along with, as if she can't put any weight upon her foot. And she
got a
walks
nail in her
around to
foot.
her desk and pulls out like a piece of paper. And she's like, What do I need to get for Milavage? He's extremely useful around here, and I can't go
Yes.
without him."
Graves will be like, well, these herbs, normally I would suggest mixing it in ale, but you don't think there's any ale here in Barovia, so try mixing it in some wine, and then just have him drink that probably like a few times a day if you can get enough until eventually it will get better. It's something in his lungs probably from the grave digging. I'm a grave digger myself. This thing is not uncommon for this kind of line of work, so.
He's going to work himself to death. I told him
The-
once, I've told him 1,000 times.
We wanted to be back to work tomorrow, and I was like, that's not happening, my friend.
So, to give you a slight description of what Headmistress Velasco looks like, she appears to be a shrewd woman. She's in her early 50s, which for Barovia seems to be on the older end of most of the people that you've seen. Her entire desk is in very proper order. She has stacks of paper. There are shelves surrounding the room full of binders and books and folders full of papers as well. She wears her gray streaked brown hair in a tight bun, and she's developed quite a few fine wrinkles around her mouth from years of disapproving frowns. As she's
Understandable.
talking about Milovaj overworking himself, she has a scowl on her face, and it looks like her face is very comfortable holding that scowl. He's like, most of these herbs look like they're fairly common. I think we might have them in the kitchen. I always keep a
Even
few
better.
bottles of wine in the back. May I offer you, any of you, some?
I think I'm
Thanks.
going to moment. Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
you
your
wouldn't-
generosity.
What was that?
I appreciate your generosity, but we'll
Mm,
be fine.
Thank you, and I'll appreciate if you don't mind if I partake myself. And she grabs a bottle
Go
from
ahead.
beneath, and she doesn't have like a wine glass or anything. She just has like a mug that she just pours it into, and she just like drinks from. It looks like this mug just sits on her desk all the time, and she just constantly refills it.
Spare.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
is there anything else I can help you gentlemen with? The kids will be preparing for the well, they're preparing for the evening meal and then bed soon after.
And I don't think I saw much preparing when we just came through there, but maybe some of the older ones.
They have to tire themselves out so that they'll be ready to go to sleep when the time comes. So I think they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now.
Yes, I try to let them play and work on them while I do some of the backlog paperwork. I've
Makes
heard
sense.
of your group. You were the ones
Yes.
that brought Hans back.
Yes.
Very unfortunate matter.
Yes.
It
That-
certainly was. I must ask, the father was not the most forthcoming with what happened. May I ask you if there's any details you'd like to share?
An unfortunate run-in with the werewolves that live seemingly on the other side of the lake. To be careful around such savage creatures.
How far did you have to travel before finding the boy?
I feel like Graves would probably give an accurate answer to that. I don't think he has any reason to lie about that, but I
It
don't
was
remember it much.
less. It was like a half day's travel at most.
Yes.
To the
Yes,
lake.
like 4 or 5 hours, I think
Yeah,
it was.
Half day or something, would you guys agree? How about a half day?
Easily.
Yep, just to the lake.
Ah, I knew it. She just kind of scowls and is, as she's kind of straightening some of the papers on her desk.
Does seem reasonably close that maybe the gods could have investigated or done something about it.
Gods are useless, especially when it comes to the forest, but I more so meant Milovaj had this asinine idea that the wolf hunters would be able to track down the kids. I suspect he's been sending his extra money their way.
Wolf hunter supposed to track these kids down.
Like regular wolves or like hunters of these werewolves?
No regular wolves.
Yes, they won't have. I don't think they'll have much luck if they end up out in the werewolves' territory. And I think that's unfortunately where the other two ended up.
Well,
There's
the wolf hunters that we know, they spend most of their time in, let's see, in either the Blue Water Inn drinking away their gold, or in the shop that is currently escaping me, but it is a trap shop within, like a trap / hunting shop within Valaki.
Yes, it's from the sound of it. I don't think they're gonna get out that far, and if they did, they probably wouldn't be coming back either. The sound of it.
No, Milovaj is a good lad, but he's too trusting. In fact, I think quite a few people are too trusting. Why did you go looking for the boys? What was in it for you? Also, it's called the Trapped Paw. And she would know that the wolf hunters are called, she would say their names as Syoldar and Yevgeny.
Well, we had our own personal reasons for wanting to explore the vicinity around the town.
Must one always get something out of a task if they just want to do something nice?
In my experience, yes.
Sorry, you've lived a
Right.
life like that.
We all come
What
from
are
an
you
area.
anyway? You want to blink these things?
No, I am much more advanced than one of his toys.
This is my friend Onyx. He is, well, he may look more like something along what Blinksuit made. He is, despite being made of a different material, he is much closer to you and I.
She nods.
We're from,
Kind of
we're all from a
taps it
place
without
that's
point.
very different from Barovia.
I figured you all weren't from Barovia. Don't hear about too many new people coming to town, and most of them are adventurers that only pass through once.
Well, we arrived here under similar circumstances, and well, we're sticking together because, frankly, I think we work pretty well together.
Strength in numbers. Well,
Well,
monsters are balanced for 4 players, don't you know?
is there anything else I can help you with? I have enough troubles on my own without adding to it. I'm glad that you brought Hans back, but I wish that you could have brought back the other two.
Would have been
Well-
ideal, but unfortunately not. I don't think. Herbert or Onyx, could I have anyone? Anything else?
Not
Bringing them back
sure.
would only be more trouble for her at this point.
Yes, I'm not sure you'd want them back at this point. But they're, yeah.
Why do you
one-
say that?
One can only pray.
I very much care about their safety. Why wouldn't I want them back?
It would be dangerous to bring them back. They're with werewolves. Do you understand what that means?
They've you mean that they've
They've
been changed into
Yes.
That is certainly a distinct possibility.
I knew that Hans had been killed by werewolves, but I'm sad to hear that he changed.
It was hard to tell.
Please, I ask you, do not tell Milovaj this. For his own sanity. He and that boy were closer than any brothers I ever met. Milovaj took him on as if he were his own son. I wouldn't be surprised if this illness is brought on from that. Well, Milavage is an orphan. He's never had any family. And having the closest thing to a son he's had and having to bury him was cruel even by the standards of this land.
Understand, bro. I have no intention of saying anything further on the subject to him myself.
Well, if you have any questions or if you could learn anything more about either Laszlo or Franz, please let me know.
There are prayers that could save creatures. In legends, I've heard that these sort of conditions might be remedied. But
Well,
we can only pray at this point.
well, you pray and I'll have faith in you. She takes a long swig from her mug. From
I
it.
do recommend that you don't share this information, but as their caregiver, I felt it was your right to know.
You truly meant what you said, and she kind of looks at Onyx. You truly meant what you said when you meant you were just doing this for the children.
I nod.
Something strange is happening here at the orphanage. I don't know who to trust, and you lot seem to actually care.
We haven't been jaded by
Unfortunately.
this place.
Sorry?
We have not been jaded by this place yet.
No. You remind me of that fool Rictavio. He's been here quite a while, but still hasn't been jaded by the place. I'd say probably a month or so. He likes to come and rile the children up and give them shows and tell them stories of a place outside Barovia that they can run free. But unfortunately, I think he's mostly just getting their hopes up. But there was a boy that passed away about, I think it was about 2 weeks ago at this point, and the guards have been of no use.
Oh, sorry. Graves
They,
like, oh, I'm shocked.
they say it was an accident. His name was Cedric.
That name's sound familiar, but it comes from a different game.
We've been having a string of bad luck. Small fires that have to be put out. Cedric was by far the worst string. We had the missing boys. Something seems to be going on, and I don't know what. Cedric did receive, or I should say, the guards looked into it and determined that it was an accident, that he fell downstairs. I didn't really find anything odd on them. I did find a locket upon him. I don't like it. I think that there's something wrong with it.
The locket?
I don't know what it was, but I think that I would like that you keep an eye out to see if you notice anything unusual. Uh, please, the children don't need to know that there's something going on. It's mostly my suspicions, and I haven't told Milavage as I don't think he can actually help. But you four seem to have your hearts in the right place, and on top of that, you look like you might be able to help and are capable.
Well, we certainly want to help.
But I do have many concerns going forward. Let's see. But ask some of the other girls about Cedric. They may be able to tell you why she was, or what she was doing before the death. But again, I ask, please be,
We will be discreet.
yes, discreet, I think is a good word for it. I would say if you can wait till after the festival tomorrow, they might be in a bit better spirits. Before trying to pursue it further. Nothing's happened for a week and a half, so I think we should be okay for now. Oh, okay. I say nothing's happened for a week and a half, aside from the 3 orphans disappearing. And I don't know if they left of their own accord or what.
Seemingly unrelated as far as we know.
Yes. Well, I must get the kids together to have their evening meal and get them to bed. We have to keep a tight ship around here. Or else they'll just fall into chaos.
Of course.
She ushers you out and opens the door to the outside of the orphanage and says, "Thank you. What may I call you?" You by name, as and she gestures a sign as is Claudia. But I did not catch your names or what you call yourselves.
Do we call ourselves anything?
I don't
We're
think we
just
have a name for the group of us. Just our individual names, as far as I'm aware.
well.
I'm great.
She looks at the rest of you. Rest of you, unless you're giving a different name, you guys would just introduce yourselves
Yeah.
as you're going along.
We'd also probably look to Conair and kind of be like, "You want to talk to her? Or do you want me to say your name?"
It's okay. If you don't want to speak, there's quite a few children here who don't like to speak either.
Do it.
But
It can be startling to hear him speak. So just
Onyx is looking at Connor. Do it.
what do you mean it can be alarming?
he speaks within the mind.
She
Directly
raises her eyes, and like the folds of skin on her forehead like straighten out, and like you see that like it's not dirt covered in those areas, so like she almost looks like a raccoon when she goes back to normal. And she's like, in the eyes, or in the mind, you say? I don't know
yes.
if I'd like that. I'm sorry. I don't like voices in my head. I've seen too many children get similar things, and I don't like it.
Oh, and I'm frozen.
Oh, that's
Oh, am I back? I'm back.
well.
Yes, his name is Kodara, by the way. It's
Yes.
understandable.
Konareth. It's nice to meet you, Konareth. I'm sorry that I can't speak to you directly.
It just nods.
She opens the door, gestures out. It is now after the evening meal, so probably around 5:30 to 6 at night. We are going to jump back to the main board.
As we're walking, we should come up with a name.
Yes, it is quite troublesome to always introduce each one of us.
But is that not how you introduce yourselves? What is... It's not like we are like a division of the army.
And I would call us the Barovia Liberators, but I think that might draw too much attention.
Yes.
Strahd Stranglers.
Yeah. Yes, no.
The Mistwalkers.
I pondered perhaps just calling ourselves the clergymen, but it seemed a bit pompous. So I was like,
I mean, we
back out on it.
We are a group of clergymen.
We are
Cosplay of
a
clerics?
group. Conclave of clerics. It is quite the mouthful.
As you are pondering what to call yourselves, you guys walk back into the streets of Valaki. You can hear noise happening in other parts, particularly from over in this area, where you can hear the scattered sounds of the inn as it's starting to enter its busier time. The door opens, you hear the crowd within, you hear the lute playing from what you would assume is Rictavio. And then you also hear the passing of people making their way towards the Blue Water Inn, as well as the Blackwater Tavern.
Well, I know Herbert's tired. We head back.
I mean, I could eat or whatever, but yeah, it's. I'm down to go rest.
What about the jelly cubes?
Why would that be our name?
I don't know.
So
It just came to my head for some reason.
The what?
The jelly cubes.
The cube.
I mean, it would be unique, I suppose, but why? So we introduce ourselves. We're the jelly cubes. Then comes the question: oh, why are you called the jelly cubes? It's like, well,
Do we need a reason?
we just thought we should. I mean, I suppose it's as good a reason as any. We'll vote on it. Oh, there's only 4 of us. That won't work.
How about we sleep on it?
Yes. Let's sleep on it.
Okay.
So Nerith
You
and the
guys-
3 mouth breathers.
Technically.
You guys are walking through. You would see ahead of you as you're going. You would see someone that you recognize. Let me pull up.
carrying are 2 bottles.
You actually see 2 people that you recognize.
Ooh.
Ooh, Vasily and Irina.
So you would see them walking. Vasily's going to his house, and it appears that they were just kind of walking along. And Vasily says, kind of nods his head and walks into his house here. And Irina continues walking along towards the church. She doesn't appear to have seen you.
Did we go say hi?
I mean, we're
Okay,
going
or
the
you can
same
wait till you
direction.
both arrive at the church, whichever you would like. For it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go to the church and we'll see her there.
Okay. Um. Okay, so you guys arrive back at the church without any additional frights or surprises happening along the way. Irina's soon ahead of you. As she's opening the door, she glances behind you and she smiles and she looks extremely excited to see you. Particularly Conereth and Graves. That she's like, Conereth, Graves, and Onyx Herbert. It's good to see all of you. Where have you been? I haven't seen you for a day or 2.
Yeah. Out and about
I guess
town.
a day. It feels like I've been here for a while.
We were out to lunch with some others, and then we are checking on Milovaj, seeing how he's doing out for the orphanage.
He's the grave digger, correct?
Yes. Yes, he is feeling rather sick at the moment, but it's nothing too serious.
Lots
Well,
to see in the city. It's a very large place.
I hope he gets better. But are you guys turning in for the evening?
That'd be best.
I think I'm
Yes.
going to go do some work in the graveyard since Milovaj has been sick, and I offered to help out.
She nods and she's like, I've been trying to find my way around to help too. I think I might be able to help at the stockyard. It's not something in particular I've done, but I know my basic numbers and how to do coinage, so I should work well there.
Very nice. Good to be able to have something to do rather than just sitting around doing nothing and twiddling your thumbs. Can get
Sure.
rather boring.
Vasily was extremely helpful. He knows much more about math than I do, and he was able to answer some of the questions I had that the Era sects weren't able to answer.
Follows from what I know of him.
He's quite clever.
He is. He learned accounting from his father. But he seems who knows around, and his knowledge of history is quite extensive. He even told me about some of the lands outside of here I'd never heard of.
What areas outside did he know of? I mean, we come from outside, so that doesn't mean I know everywhere outside.
Let me see. Sorry, I'm looking that up really quick.
What does Vasily know?
Vasily is really just a lord of Neverwinter.
Yep.
So he told me about a place called Darken. Sounded like a darker place, kind of like Barovia.
Not one that I know of right off.
Did he say how he spelled that?
He had pulled a book about it.
Yeah.
Let me think. And she thinks for a moment. She's like, Darkon.
Archon? Does it ring any bells?
Roll me a history check.
I'm just gonna say it doesn't for Graves. He doesn't know very much about it, side, honestly.
Of course, at disadvantage. Okay,
Ooh,
That's 16.
Well,
Nice.
well, either way.
16.
Yeah, smart boy.
Let me see.
So I could just Google it, but Archon. But I don't know if that would be too much.
Let's see.
It's in the
So,
You just bring up. It's in Strahd's
you would-
real homeland.
You would
Yeah.
know it mostly from myths and rumors. That, let's see.
Oh, it's totally another plane of dread,
So
isn't it?
you would recognize it mostly from rumors. That it is some type of realm ruled by a lich.
ooh.
It's probably totally another plane of dread, isn't it?
Oh my. A place ruled by a lich? That sounds awful.
I also
That
want you to
sounds
roll me
terrible.
a D100.
The
Alright.
lich's
A
name
normal, like, 100
Oh, yeah.
percentile roll.
I put
You have
Google
to
on it,
get
like,
above a
yeah.
90 to
Ooh.
learn this extra information.
Oh.
Do it. Get above a 90.
Oh, so
Can
close.
I luck point that? Because I want to know.
I can't.
No, it's not a D20 roll. Not a
It's-
D20.
I would
Uh,
allow you, but you'd have to use at least 5 luck points.
Oh boy.
Do you
Big
want
spender
5 luck?
tonight.
Do you want 5 luck points? I want to know.
I'll go ahead and spend it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
We've been
I will message
making
it to
these.
you,
Yeah.
Alex, so you are the only person that will know this information.
is
Okay.
the
Unless I read the wiki page.
You would not necessarily.
is the
Ooh.
lich's
I mean, that
name
being said,
Darken?
Graves wouldn't know. Just Garion.
Is this on Discord?
On Discord. Typing it up really quick.
Got the secret sauce.
Lich's name is Dottie. He runs a casino.
South, please.
Okay. So, you know Darken is a land ruled by a lich, and you overheard conversations from other people within Barovia as you were passing by, and it just one thing clicked in place that you'd heard that name once before.
Yeah. I guess Herbert will just like sort of look like he realized something. But I don't
But-
think you would have any reason to bring it up in conversation.
Okay. That being said, I almost said Irelia. Irina is
Really?
going to
We're in
like,
Rune Terra now.
well, I'm going to go grab some soup from there. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And
You
she
as well.
turns and kind of bows to Father Petrovich as she walks by and enters this area into the main area of the chapel. This die has been sitting here for a while. I want to get rid of it. Okay. That being said, is there anything that you guys would like to do? I'm guessing you guys are going to kind of split up a little bit. Graves is looking at digging some graves,
Yeah,
and
probably what
I'm
he's
not
gonna
sure what Konereth or Onyx or Herbert are doing. Who has the book that you guys got from the attic of?
do. I think yes,
do?
I have it because I'm the one that can read it.
You're the only one that can read the first paragraph.
Yes, I can read that much.
The rest of it is
Was it-
ciphers and stuff like that.
I thought
Yes.
Conereth. Oh, the other book. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
Strahd's book.
Anyone that would like to, it's limited to one person in the party, is able to spend at least 3 hours of downtime to do an investigation of the
Yeah.
book.
If anyone would like to get it from Graves, he will gladly give it to them. He just happened to be the one carrying it. And he, while interested, currently has more interest in the graveyard.
We're gonna have to step up to bat.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it tomorrow or something, but right now,
Normally, it would take a full day of downtime. However, you guys have had it for like one day and haven't really gleaned too much information from it, so I would allow for it to be done this evening.
All right.
Graves will hand Konereth the book as he grabs a shovel and heads outside.
Any insight that we can get into Strahd is advantage.
And I'm going to create an entirely new handout section called the Tome of Strahd, where I'm going to be sharing the insights that you guys get from
Nice.
it, and that will be on our Discord.
Sweet.
can't wait for that horrifying revelations. Or those horrifying revelations to come.
So, Konereth, you are investigating this?
Yep.
Roll me an investigation check.
16 total.
16 total? Okay. Roll me a d6.
5.
5. Okay, so. Okay. You are searching through the book, trying to see if there's anything that you can read. And you glance a handwritten aside on one of the pages, probably about 3/4 of the way through the book. And you recognize the cipher. It was something that you used at the monastery, mostly as a form of fun, not anything that you would expect to be easily known unless you've used it before. You spend probably about an hour deciphering all of this, and you get the following words. The handwriting is familiar, and it is Strahd's hand from the letters you've received from him previously. The dark powers have cursed me. Each time I am within reach of Tatiana, she is met with tragedy. I must keep her safe this time, no matter what it takes. Perhaps I may yet unravel the black threads of fate. And that is where we'll end tonight's session. So, we thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again, and for the love of crits, like and subscribe.